A very good afternoon to everybody over here, especially my dear friends, students. As mentioned by your director ma'am, it's almost 2 years that I was here. And I still remember I was given not one plant, but a set of 3 plants and a very nicely decorated test tubes, glass test tubes. And then I was asked, it was not a very structured lecture, but I was asked to address the students. I think some of them are still here if you at that time. And I mentioned to you that looking at a plant I was given today also, you think that if someone has to comment on that, the details about it, one has to know about biology, botany, right? But I mentioned that day how through just a plant you can talk physics, you can talk chemistry, you can talk biology, and to some extent mathematics. That tells us that though initially we are trained, we are indoctrinated with the idea that this is a subject, that is another subject, that is another subject. But don't forget, everything is interconnected and linked because they fall under what is called science. Science is that magical word that tells us how everything, you, me, this voice that is going over, the light that you are seeing, whatever is happening in the outside is called atmosphere, climate, everywhere science plays its roles. So, science is not a subject, it is a way of living, it's a way of existence. Right? That idea, if it can be instilled in you in these early days of your development, later on will make you, some of you, as a big lawyer, an entrepreneur, a business person, a scientist, maybe an artist, anything. But behind your mind, you will have a strong foundation of analyticity, logical thinking, and creativity. Science provides that. Right? So, that is the reason I think the concept of MEDHA, as I just saw it, enrichment, encouragement. Do you think a school education, the textbooks, or your coaching classes, the teacher there, can enrich you? Do you think that? They can prepare you for a battle which is called the exam. But enrichment is something. You don't have to, you cannot prove that, see, sir, my enrichment is 10.0 and my friend is 9.2. These are certain words which can be countered by numbers. It can only be found how much you are enriched through your activities, ideas, suggestions. And none of them has a score of how much you have got out of 10. You can say, oh, these are 2 big words. Gyan ka baat hai. My friend, these are the basic tenets of educational requirement of every person. You don't need to get into a school to enrich yourself. You can say, to get a job, to do things in my life, to have 2 cars when I'm at the age of 21, and 2 very nice apartments by the age of 30. But that is life. If you think so, it's fine. I'm not saying it is wrong. But look around a little bit. Globally, nationally, locally. That is not life. Right. So, this is the right point in your life to start that feeling. Not, let me go to the college, let me have that maturity. You're quite matured. Today's kids, you people are at least 3 to 4 times more mature than what we were at your age. Because of information explosion. Maybe because of a little bit of genetic development, I don't really know within such a short period of time, 30, 40 years, whether you can have that. But still, so, by the way, today's lecture will be some 3.5 hours long, right? Panic in everybody's face. No, I'm just joking. Have fun. Come on, you look so. Take life easy, one thing. Another thing, I was reading a very big philosopher. What he said, you know, try not to be someone whom we expect you to be. Try to be someone of who you are. Very big words. And you can prove yourself by your thoughts, interactions, productivity, creativity, and usefulness in the society. Sir, you told me I should be like what I like to be. I don't want to do anything. That doesn't produce good results, right? Neither for you nor for the people around. So the point is that express yourself. Question everything. Not to challenge, but to show I am right. You can be proven wrong also. Then you learn, oh, I was wrong there. Nothing. Till now I have not spoken about literature, physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, nothing. This is what is happening. What is happening is each one of you is tremendous potential. Each one of you have. Whether you can unlock that potential depends on quite a number of factors. Depends on your parents, depends on the outlook that you have towards life, depends on your hard work, dedication, and depends on the system here at the school which has prepared you. And not one factor. If your notion is, I don't need to go to the school every day, my dad has put me in the best tuition coaching classes. I think you are the biggest stupid fellow that can happen to anyone. Coaching classes teaches you not the subject. It doesn't impart knowledge. It gives you only the mechanism of writing answers so that you can get most of the marks. Challenge me if I am wrong. Challenge me if I am again wrong. Every year you see a girl or a boy, probably in the first page of the newspaper, 99.96%. Wow. Show me after 10 years where are they? Have they succeeded in life? All of them? Why? 99.96. Very impressive. The coaching center will put a separate photograph of you and have a 10 feet by 10 feet poster. Our student, 99.96. What happens to that fellow? You should think, not get into a rat race. Oh, I got 99.96 and this fellow 99.95. What does it mean? What does it mean? You can. A couple of bouquet, flashlights. For how long? So this is the essence of education today. Successful education. If you have any other ideas, I don't think that I'm very old. Out of reverence, you should not speak against me. Come up, challenge me and say, no, what you are saying is probably not correct. I will listen to you. Okay, enough of this verbal jugglery. Today I'm here to talk about a subject which is not directly a part of your curriculum always, but it has become tremendously important worldwide. Just I can show you some of the factors. And this subject is basically the subject of astronomy and astrophysics. First of all, good education is not what fills your head with facts, but what stimulates your curiosity. It is not a plus b whole square. How to use a plus b whole square to solve the problem there, that is needed. That is education. You then learn from the rest of your life, and with due apologies to the teaching faculty, in true sense, one cannot teach anybody anything. One can only make them think. You know who has said it? Socrates, not me. Right. So you should put it in your head. teaching is just not a plus b whole square again, but ma'am is asking us to think what she's teaching. You'll see you never need a tuition coaching center, because you have unlocked the mystery of how to solve this sort of set of problems. Okay. And education should be experiential, experimental, holistic, 360 degree, integrated, inquiry-driven, discovery-oriented, learner-centric, discussion-based, flexible, and of course enjoyable. The office may get this particular statement maybe in a year or so. This was my presentation in NEP, and they said, even the minister said, wow, this is wonderful. One sentence, it gives you everything. Right? Whatever. About astronomy. Astronomy is a subject which compels the soul to look upward and leads us from this world to that. Tell me, how many times in your everyday life you consciously think of looking into the sky? Sir, not enough time, sir. So many things are happening. So many nice things are in Facebook, X, or whatever, Twitter handles. How should I look at the sky? I have to either study, or be social, or be with my friends, or sleep or eat. You see, that's the problem. Right? But it compels our soul to look upwards. And it was Edwin Hubble who said, equipped with his 5 senses, man explores the universe around him and calls the adventure science. So science is not a subject. When you, for a fraction of a second, you just start thinking, this fellow is giving a lecture, this sound is coming to the microphone. You have to think about it. My voice, my vocal sac is vibrating, producing a particular pattern of noise which I call language, and it is hitting this diaphragm over inside, vibrating the diaphragm, that is being converted to electromagnetic energy, which ultimately goes to the receiver or whatever, again produces in the speaker a vibration and I'm hearing it. Have you ever given thought? A single action of, I'm speaking, you are listening. This is science. So have that query in your mind. Right? Fantastic. And to confine our attention to terrestrial matters would be to limit the human spirit. By the way, from the last, I think third from the last, the boy over there, are you not feeling well, my friend? You, no, don't look behind. You. Yeah, you. Are you not feeling well? It's okay. But because of your actions, 3-4 students around you are not feeling well. Sit down. Right. The problem is I give lectures to commandos, 300 commandos, and I watch. You know what happens? I should tell you. Nowadays, don't touch the kids. Typically in Belgaum or in Dindigal, there is this advanced commando training school. Every year I go for 6 days, I give lectures and I show them the sky because of some other reasons. I'm not going to that. 300 commandos every year. Each lecture is 2.5 hours. So, suppose some fellow, all age between 19 to 22, a little fidgety, doing this, I say, hey, please, band ho jao yaar. In Hindi channel, again he will start doing. I did not get angry. So after the 2.5 hour lecture, what happened? The sergeant major comes. Sergeant major remains the total supervisor of the commando unit for those 10 months. And he said, suppose that fellow has done a little bad. I'm not complaining, but वो बंदा को थोड़ा ना कुछ problem लगता था. वो नहीं, अरे वो गैलरी. उठो बाबा, थोड़ा उठो बाबा. क्या हुआ? आओ मेरे पास आओ बेटा. No, not you. I'm talking about the commander. मेरा पास आओ बेटा. That fellow becomes like, तबीयत ठीक है तो तुम्हारा? हाँ सर. अच्छा, कोई तकलीफ हुआ था? तब तो ठीक है. जाओ भाई 10 किलोमीटर दौड़ के चले आओ. If I tell you that, your parents will take you to the Supreme Court. But they are the real people of the country. I think the sound is not. Okay, so enough of stories. I think I've wasted quite an amount of time on telling all these things. Thousands of years back, when our ancestors used to look into the sky, they used to wonder what is sky, where is sky, what are those lightning dots we call stars. Is there any connection between the star and the earth? With these set of questions and queries, the subject of astronomy was born. So astronomy can be considered as one of the oldest subjects that human minds have dwelt upon. At the same time, given the huge number of news items that we regularly get to see in television channels and newspaper, you get an idea that it is also one of the most happening subjects. Just to give you the concept that how scientists are believing that astronomy will be called the mother of all subjects in the 21st century, the proof. 1901 to 2000, in 100 years, only 3.5 Nobel Prizes were awarded on the subject of astronomy, astrophysics, cosmology, and what is known as general theory of relativity. Whereas 2000 to 2025, 6 Nobel Prizes, 17 scientists were awarded the Nobel Prize exactly on those subjects. That tells you how important the subject has become. Night sky. Thousands of years back, as our ancestors used to wonder what is the meaning behind those lighted dots, they couldn't find an answer. In their desperation, what they did, they chose different parts of the sky, identified closely spaced stars, joined those stars through straight lines, and created imaginary figures. In this way, the whole sky was divided into 88 regions, each region being governed by an imaginary figure, which we today call constellations or Taramandal. You will be asking me that these are imaginary. Why should we today know that? We are ChatGPT generation. But believe me, as I was mentioning about these commandos, every year I teach fresh batch of army commandos these things. You know why? Because most of the army commandos, though nobody officially government will not admit, are paratrooped behind the enemy lines. If they are carrying metal things, that will radiate and the people will catch it. Even their rifles are special plastic, not metal. Similarly, if they have a compass or a watch, they will get caught. So just looking at the sky to find the direction, the timing, everything. That's how the commandos work. So they have not lost their physical significance and relevance. Whatever. Day sky and night sky. I think even in 1 year, maybe once, if you have looked into the sky, wow, daytime and nighttime. What? What is this query? The sense of awe always overcomes us. But there is a limitation of how much I can see through my naked eye. And it was around 415 years back, a fellow called Galileo Galilei, using for the first time a telescope, realized there is amazing amount of objects, events, environment in the cosmos that we don't even can imagine. But you need a telescope. And in this last 400 years, a tremendous amount of development, technological development, scientific breakthroughs has happened. And now every country, developing, underdeveloped, fully developed, they're desperately trying to build bigger and bigger telescopes because they know the country which will be the first to understand the deepest part of the cosmos will probably win the race in answering the very basic questions of science. Just to give you an idea, this observatory is in a place called Shirapashon in the Atacama Desert in Chile. It started working from July last year, 2025. Do you know what is the cost of making this telescope? Go to the internet and check. $1.2 billion, not million. That is how much? 120 crore dollars. Multiply it by around 100 or 90. You get the amount of money. This is astronomy. Do you know, again in the Chile's Atacama Desert in a place called La Bernal, they have built 4 8-meter diameter telescopes. The place is so arid, not even a single blade of grass grows in 365 days around 250,000 square kilometers. And by government law, within 250 kilometer diameter, no person can stay because the small pollution can disturb this. But I have been to this place 2-3 times for doing something, not just for having fun. You know, first of all, efficiency. Each building is a 12-story building. Do you know what is the total number of employees working here? 8. and they manage it fantastically. That is dedication. 8. But their salaries are more than the directors of IITs, but they have proven themselves. Right. First of all, you don't touch the telescope. It's 110-ton Ford telescope. So you sit at a console. There are around 32 panels, and you operate through hundreds of small buttons and clicks and buttons. The first night, everything is written under each button. What is this for? What is that for? I found a red button with nothing written behind it. I was puzzled. So next day I spoke to the maintenance engineer. He said, I am extremely sorry, I forgot to mention to you. See, if you are having a heart attack, if you feel that you are having a heart attack, press the button. I said, what happened? 250 kilometers away, the doctor will instantaneously know, come in a helicopter, take you to a hospital 250 kilometers away. So astronomy is not just, my father gave me a telescope this 16th birthday, and I have looked into it, and I know astronomy. It's one of the toughest jobs. Break those things. But the largest telescope is not yet built. Do you know what is the name of this largest telescope? TMT, 30-meter telescope, a telescope with a 30-meter diameter. The cost of building this telescope is so large. 5 countries are collaborating: USA, Canada, Japan, China, and our poor India. Do you know in 2018, the then Prime Minister declared in the Lok Sabha, India's contribution for building this telescope will be 1,700 crore rupees for one instrument. This is India, not the India that you see out here. Do you know in 2018, Government of India declared 7 mega science projects. Do you know the total budget? 22,500 crores. And out of 7, 6 are in astronomy. Now you know what is happening in India? The top, the cream de la cream of the academic people, students, science, engineering, all going for astrophysical research. Nothing is happening in West Bengal. Here, so क्या होता है पता नहीं है. So, sun, earth, and the moon. You say, what nonsense? LKG 1, LKG 2, they are teaching sun, earth, and the moon, and you are telling us all this. Okay, let me ask you a question. Suppose your younger brother or sister tells you, Dada, Didi, during the school, they taught us Earth is going around the sun. Right? What is the average velocity? How many of you know? 2 questions. You all know what is the coming movie that Shah Rukh Khan is making. Useless information. But you don't know. If somebody asks you, what is the average velocity Earth is going around the sun? That is the gap in our academic educational system. 29.5 kilometers per second. Imagine a car. In 1 second, say I come from Salt Lake, almost 30 kilometers. In 1 second, I go from here to Salt Lake. You say, what nonsense? Never happened. But you're forgetting, my friends, 840 crore people, millions of life existing on the surface of the earth, even you, at every point of your existence, they're moving at the speed of 30 kilometers per second. You knew that. That is what I call cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is not Vedas, Puranas, whatever Munis and Rishis have said. No. Looking at ourselves, our existence, from a different perception makes you feel wiser, makes you feel more informed than your coaching classes, physics wala, and other things. By the way, I love the fellow physics wala, but he is very close to me. And I always tell him, what you are doing is destroying a generation. But sir, I am making them IITs, get lost, right? As if before you, nobody went into IIT, right? Whatever. But another thing which hit me in my kid, when I was a young fellow, I started liking astronomy, that you are here, no? I am here. So many times, many millions of people are there, that there is life on Earth. You know how it started, how it happened, how is it possible now? Because of a series of accidents. You will not be here today, or me, or your parents, if those accidents never occurred in the history of our existence. Don't think somebody is doing this, rays of light coming, in the calendars you see, rays of light coming and things happen. Those are either to pacify you or to pacify your grandfather to get a big deal. Don't get involved in it. Be religious, but don't fall for things which you cannot prove. Okay, just to give you some proof. First, you all know Earth is tilted by 23.5 degrees and going around the sun. It is because of the tilt, season changes occur. Right? If there are no change of season, there will be no ocean currents. If there are no ocean currents, there will be no air currents in the atmosphere. And if there are no air currents in the atmosphere, clouds would not have gone somewhere and gathered somewhere else and give us rain and rainfall. Life would not have been possible because just after Earth was born, it would have been a barren desert. So you and me exist now. 23 complicated. Second, tides. Oh, come on, sir. Tides. If I ask you why does tide occur? Answer? Anybody? Yeah, please. Fantastic. Fantastic. Very good. The moon exerts gravitational attraction on the water and the water bulges in that direction and slowly improves. With due respect, even the rickshaw puller will give you the same answer. But what is gravitational attraction? Ga1m2 by r square, right? Formula? Right? Do a back of the envelope calculation after my lecture. You will show yourself Sun is attracting Earth 173 times more than the Moon does. That's why Earth is going to the Sun. And why do you say it as Moon? It's a set distance, huh? M1 M2 by r square distance is considered. This is called scientific crime. I told you in class 3, it is Moon's attraction causing the tides. And you have taken it as one of the 10 commandments in my life. Never question how. You have to learn. Because tide is not a force. It is rather the resultant of quite a number of force over unit distance, or what is known as force derivative, m1 m2 by r cube. And that is the reason, since Moon is like 84,000 kilometers away and Sun is 50 crore kilometers away, Moon wins. But not a lot of our teachers tell us, Sun also attracts the water on the Earth. Do you know how much? 47% than the Moon does. Ask your teachers, forget about here, even university teachers, what? How to do the calculation, sir? They'll ask. Sorry, because they're never given in a book, they're never taught in a coaching class. See what happens. Whatever. Solar eclipse. Beautiful picture. It was during a total solar eclipse. Sun was discovered as a new avatar. They found out from the surface of the sun Milky White radiation coming out, which cannot be seen on other times. When they asked themselves the question, what is causing this? They were amazed with the answer. They found out from the surface of the sun, every second, or on average, 12 lakh tons of charged particles are coming out. These charged particles, when they move to the magnetic field of the sun, they produce the Milky White radiation. The average velocity of these charged particles are 450 kilometers per second. With that speed, they have enough momentum, enough energy. If they hit you, me, this building, anything now, within fraction of a second, poof, we'll evaporate. But we are alive. How? I'll come to that. Moon. By the way, these are all actual pictures, not always available on the internet. I'm an associate of NASA. So NASA doesn't give out all the pictures on the internet because they don't want it to be used commercially. What is Moon? According to the scientists, 452 crore years back, a huge ball of rock came and slammed onto the Earth with such a force, huge amount of surface material got gouged up and was thrown up into space. It couldn't go air forever, but going to a very vast distance for millions of years, it condensed, coagulated, coalesced, and gave birth to the Moon. This theory is called the collision ejection theory. So Moon was born out of Earth. Right. Space and time journey. Listen, any journey means change of space and any time. No, not that. 1905, a very famous fellow called Albert Einstein gave a lot of theories. I'm not discussing theories in the late afternoon. But one of the results was this light that you see, any light. Light is a velocity. Velocity of light is 3 lakh kilometers per second. The distance from Sun to Earth is 15 crore, 3 lakh kilometers per second. If you do a simple division, class 5, 6 textbooks nowadays has written this mandatory by all boards. The distance between Sun and Earth is 8.3 light minutes. A light takes 8.3 minutes to come from Sun to Earth. What does it mean? It means After my lecture, you go out, look at the sun for a fraction of a second, and tell the sun I saw now, it is the image of the sun as it was 8.3 minutes back, and I'm seeing it now. The closest star, Proxima Centauri, 4.2 light years away. If in the evening, today evening, it is clear, look at the star and tell yourself the star I'm seeing now. It is the image of the star as it was 4.2 years back. So next time your younger brother or sister tells you, Dada, please take me to the science city, spend $50 on a time machine ride, never. Any clear night, walk into the open, tilt your head. The deeper you are seeing now, you are seeing your own past. You don't understand. It's an instantaneous time travel the moment you look up in the sky. That's why looking into the sky has this romantic age on that. What I'm seeing is my own past. Most of the stars, 100, 200, 300 light years away. When today, when I say, beta, wo dekho, the tare hai na, 300 light years. So that means the light that is entering your eye at this moment started 300 years back and is reaching your eye. Fascinating. Right. Journey in space and time. The first topic is the solar system, not what is solar system? Sun and 9 planets are get lost. Sun, 8 planets, 5 dwarf planets, thousands of pieces of rock called asteroids, and millions of what are known as comets. Sun, true picture. Achha, you have all studied, na? Sun is a ball of gas, right? Achha, if you have studied sun is a ball of gas, tell me, if I take a football, pump in a lot of colored gas, cut open the football, with the gas inside remain like a ball, it will diffuse up. Then how come sun being a ball of gas is not diffusing out into the sky? How come? Yeah, please, educate me. Gravity is keeping all together, right? Pressure opposite to the gravitation and along the gravitation. You are there. Don't feel sort of embarrassed. Okay, that's it. I don't have much time because 2 o'clock, madams have said they will catch hold of my neck and take me out of the school. Right. According to the scientists, 460 crore years back, a huge cloud of gas and dust is floating in space. This cloud was made up of 91% hydrogen, 8% helium, 1% other elements. The average temperature of this gas cloud was minus 240 degrees centigrade. At this very extremely cold temperature, out of the 4 fundamental forces of nature, only one type of force comes into play, that is the called force of self-gravity. The force of self-gravity will attract the periphery of the gas cloud to the center. As the gas goes toward the center density builds up. As the density rises, pressure builds up. As the pressure rises, temperature rises. You know this, right? Density more density, more pressure, more temperature. Who told you? You just said this. Tell me. That's the problem. Charles' law, Boyle's law. You have read it, but you don't know what it had to apply. Whatever. And the temperature started rising, and from minus 240 degrees centigrade, it rose to a fascinating level of 1.5 crore degrees centigrade. At 1.5 crore degrees centigrade, one thing happens. 4 hydrogen nuclei, protons, as if they come together, fuse together and produce a helium nucleus. This thermonuclear fusion reaction, our scientists have been able to perform it in the labs, but till 5 years back, they could not control it. As a result, they used it to explode as a hydrogen bomb. Hydrogen to helium bomb. But inside the sun, in a very regulated manner, when 4 hydrogen nuclei gives rise to a helium nucleus, huge amount of energy is produced. That energy, as it tries to come out from the central region outwards, it produces a back pressure called radiation pressure. And this radiation pressure, when it exactly balances and matches and cancels the inward force of gravity, sun being a ball of gas remains hanging there for millions of years. Think about it. Each one of you think you are so powerful, right? In the society also. Either muscle or intelligence or money, and places like West Bengal, as you are saying, if we don't have anything, don't worry, political patronage. Forget about it. You, me, everybody is around because 15 crore kilometers away in a ball of gas, 2 opposite forces are continuously exactly cancelling each other. If a little bit this way, that when either sun will become big or sun will become small, and within 8.3 minutes, everything goes. Nobody can stop it. You can have billions of rupees, you can have so many connections, nothing, zilch. Just go. That is the power of sun. And we think these 10-foot posters images, they are the most powerful in the society. Right? Or I have a lot of money, so I'm the most powerful. That is how arrogance starts. Some of you will be facing it, maybe in your home. I'm not saying everybody in your home. पैसा है तो सब है भाई, बात बहुत होता है. पैसा से सबको खरीद लो. जो सूर्य को खरीदना this is called the condition of hydrostatic equilibrium. Inside the sun, there is a 3 region, the very core where the harmonic fusion reaction is going on is called the core. When the energy that is produced for a huge volume, it freely flows, called the radiative zone. Sun is very funny looking. From the surface, up to a depth of 650 to 700 kilometers, pillars of gas stacked one after another. Heat comes from inside, hits the bottom layer of the gas pillar. Gas, when it is heated up, rises, comes to the surface, deposits the heat as sunlight, becoming cold like a fountain, goes down, and continuously releases the heat from inside. This is called the convective zone. Outwardly, sun is again divided into 3 regions. The very surface of the sun that you get to see, early morning or late evening, that is called photosphere, the sphere of light. Over the photosphere, in a very thin layer, exquisitely pink-colored gas can be seen. That is called the chromosphere. Chromo means color. You want to see the actual picture of the surface of the sun? This left side. You go to Kalimpong or Puri, you get what a wonderful sun, like a yolk. But if you look deeply, it is behind that structure. Each is a column of gas trying to bring the heat from inside. As it is bringing the heat, it is right. The moment it comes on the surface, deposits the heat like a fountain going down, since the heat is missing, typically dark in color. The average size, 952,000 kilometers in diameter, each cell. That is the chromosphere, only taken during a total solar eclipse. Just above the surface, you see spikes of gas, exquisitely pink-colored gas, called chromosphere. And according to one of the best 5 pictures in my pen drive, amazing. Corona, actual photo. This is what you are seeing, is the moon, which has covered up the sun because during a total solar eclipse, and you see this milky white radiation coming out, caused by charged particles. Corona is a Latin word, means crown. Sun is wearing a crown. Nothing to do with coronavirus. Right. So now you tell me, have you seen this beauty anywhere else? No. 100 Shah Rukh Khans, 50 Salman Khans, 25 other Khans, you add them up. Sorry, why they're all Khans, I don't know. No, now they're Kapoors. So if you add them up, the total beauty, the bigger beauty, will be nothing compared to this. Right, okay. Actual picture. Sun sometimes become active. You get to see black splotches, colored hapas on the surface of the sun. Sometimes 1, sometimes 10, 20 in a group. They are called sunspots. What are they? The surface temperature of sun is 5,600 to 5,800 degrees centigrade. At that temperature, gas cannot remain as gas, it becomes plasma. Plasma is a property wherever there is a magnetic field, plasma will try to get deflected from it. Same principle in your plasma television. So, whenever a column of gas or plasma is trying to bring the heat from inside of the sun to the surface, if it realizes that there is a magnetic field, it will not come out straight. It will take the heat away from different directions. No heat comes out from this region. It will typically look dark. This picture was taken in 2012. The total cost of single photograph was $900 million. One photograph. You say, what? Stupid fellows, $900 million, one photograph? Yes, boss. Because only in the last 25-30 years, scientists have proven very high energetic, fast moving particles are also coming out from the sun, not charged particles, not those white things. They move so fast. At this moment, they are falling on the roof of this building, passing through the whole building, falling on your head, passing through your whole body, entering the earth, passing straight through the earth, going out on the other side of the earth. Night time, when you think Abhi to Surya nahi hai, forget it. They are coming and falling onto the other surface, passing clean through the earth, clean through my body, and passing out into the space. Some problem? Huh? What were you asking? You. Don't look very innocent. Me? No, don't get up. Hey, we are now friends. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Yeah. Can I be so much straight? What is happening? Any problem? What you are looking at the back at the corner to that girl? You don't like this man? I know, I understand. I don't know. Why? Can I say you very thing politely? If you don't like it, get lost. You don't need me, I don't need you. Okay, sit. Think about it. You don't like it, lost. You have to be direct with kids. Because your parents cannot catch me. Why did you say this? My daughter is mentally depressed. Get lost. To them also. This is actually an excuse to make the parents feel important. Right? But I tell you also, you don't challenge your parents. कैसे ये हुआ 99.8 क्यों मिला 9.9 क्यों नहीं मिला इतना खर्चा क्या तुम्हारे पीछे sometimes some of them not all say no what have you done just very polite say how much did you score in your class test but most parents will do this there are limitations right? The notion of parenthood is divine. But how they behave sometimes is very not only mundane, not expected. Whatever. So this photograph, I told you these particles are coming from the sun, hitting the building, passing through it. Do you know how many particles, my friend? It has been proved. Go to the internet, ChatGPT ask. 10 to the power 10. 1 followed by 10 to the power 10 means what? 10 zeros. So many particles per second is passing through each one of us. They are called neutrinos. And we think, we are the king and queen of ourselves. Right? Sun is not a smooth object. Tremendous amount of explosions are happening every second. Thousands of tons of gas are getting thrown out to the surface, reaching a height of 25 to 30,000 kilometers, making beautiful arch and loop falling back onto the surface. Sometimes they get thrown out with such a force, they get detached from the surface of the sun and flow past the whole solar system like a solar wind or solar storm. So what a drama, boys, sir. 2016, first actual photograph. Do you know what is the size of this cavity? 3 Earth will go side by side. This is sun. Yeah. This, I told you, tremendous amount of hot gas coming out, making an arch or a loop falling back onto the sun. And this is happening every second. And we have so wrong notions about what is power. Money is power. Having 5 apartments is power. Having the latest car in your garage is a power. This is power. And this charged particle, I told you, if they get thrown up with such a force, they get detached from the surface of the sun and flow past the whole solar system like a wind. And if they hit me, believe me, or this building, poof, within a fraction of a second of operation. So why you are alive? Accident. Because Earth behaves like a bar magnet. Around the Earth, like a peels of an orange, there is an invisible geomagnetic field. These charged particles, they come and slam onto the Earth, cannot enter, flow past this shield, and we think and the king and queen of ourselves. But in the bar magnet, in the north and south magnetic polar region, there is a gap. These charged particles, they do enter the Earth's atmosphere. Before hitting you and me, they interact with the air molecules and make them glow. And what you get to see? Aurora. Aurora borealis in north, Aurora australis in south. I think in your lifetime you should see 1 or 2 twice. It's amazing. You have seen? Okay, yeah. Can you bunch up the questions? Let me finish. I told you not 2 o'clock deadline. I'm getting scared. You must see. I have seen it 3 times. Nothing comes out of your mouth. And last year, one of my very close friends, she is actually the director of the Finnish Arctic Polar Research Center, sent me a photograph. Divine. Sheets of ice, the sky is getting reflected, and you have this aurora borealis. This is the interaction of sun with earth. Don't just say, wow. Solar system, how did it happen according to the scientists? 460 crore years back, when the sun was getting born at the center of the disk of gas and dust, in the outer periphery where the temperature is less, gas and dust condensed, coagulated, and gave birth to very hot spherical objects. For millions of years, they dissipated away the heat, and at least the first four, Mercury, Venus, or Mars, became solid, rocky, terrestrial. Whereas Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are made up of gas. Right? Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune made up of gas? You have studied it. Good. Actually, tell me, in your next exam, board exam, if it comes, Saturn is made up of gas. True or false? What you will say? True. And you will get 1 out of 1. And you will be happy. Then coming out to the exam hall, you will walk down the street and see a Shani temple. Image of Shani. Where from they get the image done? Blue color, these, that. It's a ball of gas. Looking at a ball of gas, can you say it's a color of boy gas or girl gas? What I'm trying to tell you is not hitting your religious sentiments. What I'm trying to tell you, if you are scientific minded, you have to be tough. You cannot believe Saturn is a ball of gas and also believe it has a mustache and structure. That is tough. You all think we are for science, but hey, you don't say that. These hard sentiments. Get lost. Science is not easy. Believing in science is not easy. So all those scientists, the young people, they're making our country proud of science. They also understand. If you want to be one of them, be that thought in your mind. Let others believe. No problem. Don't worry with it. Let your parents believe. वो तो सूर्य को भी प्रणाम करती है, करता है, जो भी होता है, करने दो. But in your mind, ball of gas, two opposite forces, gravity, radiation pressure, cancelling, all of this. That is science. Tough was. Science. Whatever. This is a collage of all true color pictures of planets. The problem will be, no. Once I give a lecture in some school or college or even university, second time, you are, Bhanashanti, hey, good morning, don't come. All these nonsense you are telling our kids, right? What are they learning? But they cannot challenge me, that's the problem. There's a collage of all color pictures. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, why red? Rusting on the surface. Ferrous and ferric oxide covers the whole surface area. But this 2002 photograph taken by the Hubble Space Telescope has interested the scientists because in the polar region they have found white sediments. According to them, the white sediment is a mixture of water ice, dry ice, that is carbon dioxide ice, and methane ice. According to them, even if a part of it is water ice, maybe liquid water is to flow on the surface of the Mars millions of years back. And liquid water is synonymous with life. So was there life on Mars? Is there life on Mars? Still question. Jupiter, 319 times heavier than Earth, takes 11.86 years to go around the Sun once, but takes only 10 hours to go around itself. With a tremendous speed, it has dragged the clouds of the atmosphere and created this belt-like structure. Saturn, the beauty of the solar system. Fantastic ring system. Takes 29.4 years to go around the Sun. You know how many moons Saturn has? 240%. Uranus, it is a ring. Neptune, blue in color, covered by methane-bearing clouds. But the last 30-40 years, Mars this, Mars that. Every 3 to 4 months, news, television, newspaper. Why? Lot of people, especially Bengali, we are in Bengali, there's a terminology called Buddhijivis. We are the best intellectuals the world can happen. We believe, not actually. So, most of the time they say, what nonsense, so much of money being spent, billions of rupees, dollars, whatever, mission to Mars, to know. Why? There is so much progress. You know why? No scientist will give you official explanation because it can cause tremendous amount of panic. They have found these sort of geological structures on the surface. As if liquid water some time back has cut through the rocky regions, produces these canyons. There is no liquid water on the surface at present found, but below the surface, there can be ice crystals called permafrost, all liquid water. If that happens now, then on Earth, one drop of water can have millions of bacteria, virus, parasites. So if there are still some bacteria, virus, parasites on the Mars, do you know every year few hundred kilograms of rock come scattered from Mars and fall onto the Earth? Most of the time we don't realize because 74% is water. If it falls on the water, we will not even recognize. If Martian soil or subsoil is a bacteria, virus, parasite nerve, sitting on a rock, if it lands onto the Earth, believe me, my friend, within 6 months to 3 years, the whole life form will go from Earth. Nobody will be alive. If you don't believe me, 5 years back, what happened? 6 years back. One dot called coronavirus killed officially 4 crore 80 lakh people. That time the scientists knew how does a coronavirus look. So they came out with a vaccine. These, they have never been seen on Earth. Before our scientists can understand, everybody gone. That is the reason you should have a healthy life. Our next generation of human beings should be healthy. That's why billions of dollars are getting spent to understand Mars. Even India. Not for fun. Right? See for yourself, in 2012, when Curiosity landed, very first photograph, dried up riverbeds which you get to see in Jharkhand and Bihar during summer, going on a train over a rail bridge. Peoples can only occur whenever there was a flowing water. Definitely there was liquid water someday back on the surface of Mars. And when the whole world, the scientific community was jumping up and down, like, kuch to karna hoga, aur to janna padega na. 2012, 15th of August, India's Independence Day, the then Prime Minister declared India is ready for a mission to Mars. Believe me, my friend, throughout the world, everybody started laughing. India's technology, Mars, we have a very big friend, neighbor, China. Xinhua News Agency, I have it in my laptop, 16th of August. The lead story was, Indian scientists are going to prove themselves as clowns and jokers in the front of the international community. Very insulting. Rest is history. 5th of November 2013, sitting on a nose cone of a PS-1 X-25 rocket from the Satish Dhawan Space Center, Mars Orbital Mission, MOM, but lovingly called by sentimental Indian people Mangaljaan, which has now been accepted officially, was sent onto space. And 24 September 2014, 8:02 AM, India became the first country in the world, in its very first attempt, successfully entered Mangaljaan on a stable orbit around Mangal. Starting from 1979, no country has been able to do it. Not even Russia, China, Japan, US. That is what is power of India. You remember, nothing happened in West Bengal. चलो यार, बहुत हो गया, अभी रोकड़ा कमाना है. कल 10 रुपया था, आज इसको 12 कर दो. Somebody will say, कल तो वो मिनिस्टर को साथ हो ना, आज चीफ मिनिस्टर को साथ नहीं करना है. Lot of people in West Bengal, elderly people, very erudite, sitting in the front row. Whatever you tell Dr. Duari, 484 crore rupees spent on a mission called Mangaljaan by a country like India, which cannot feed 70% of its population 2 square meals a day. BPL, below poverty line. Was it necessary? To them, I will tell you. You know, last year, in Diwali and Kali Puja, according to the government records, the total number of fireworks was 6,000 crores. That's not a wastage. Do you know, last year, according to BBC, not last year, 2024, according to BBC, the total amount of business money spent in Durga Puja in West Bengal was 48,000 crores. That's not a mistake. What are you saying for Durga Puja? I get lost. Durga Puja takes only 100 to 100th of that cost. And earlier I knew, our parents, they used to tell us, during Durga Puja, we will get one good shirt and trouser and one school uniform. In our case, it went on to 4 days. And now, ladies, I need 22 sarees for 4 days. That's not wastage. Because I can pay, that's not a wastage. Thoughts have all got continuity in our minds. Whatever is reality, we have shied away from the reality and think, this is reality which I am building. जो खाना 50 रुपया में मिलता है ना, गुड फूड, वही खाना खाना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा तो फेसबुक पिक्चर देना पड़ेगा ना, तो 500 रुपीज. That is wastage. मूड तो होना चाहिए. That is wastage. Then you do not say 17% of my brothers and sisters do not have 2 square meals a day. But मेरा पिता, डैडी तो ठीक है, इनकम करता है, देता है, it's normal. What happens to the 70%? You are to be. In 10 years, huge number of projects that has been planned. You read it, Chandrayaan-3 done, Aditya L1 done, Gaganyaan started, others will follow. 14th July 2023, Bengal is ready. बहुत दूसरे स्टेट का ना बहुत आवाज दिया है कि क्या करता है बंगाली लोग. Everybody started clapping. So 14th July 2023, sitting on a GSLV Mark III, Chandrayaan-3 was sent up. And 23rd August 2023, India became the first country successfully landed the Vikram spacecraft on the surface of the moon. No country has been able to do it till today. And this 30th of August, this picture was taken by a small robotic vehicle called Pragyan, which came out of the belly of this fellow. And according to NASA associate, everybody I go to listen to the NASA director's Christmas lecture. According to the NASA director, this camera is probably the best camera ever built in the world by ISRO. This is ISRO. This is India. It's not a political statement. Atmanirbhar Bharat. India is happening. And you kids are the people who will drive India within another 10 to 15 years. Last year in the United Nations, I was there for a meeting. The General Secretary himself, 132 countries representative of it, went up and said, India is now considered one of the top 5 countries in science and technology today. वो जो नैरेटिव देखते हो ना, हमारे गणेश जी था, उसका जो ये, वो तो हम लोग सर्जरी, हमको पता था उसकी हुआ, और महाभारत का युद्ध तो ICBM थे. Get lost of this nonsense narrative of some people. But India is developed today, now, here. And who will be running the development? Obviously, some people from you here. Prepare yourself. Go to the coaching classes, get 99.9, but in addition, do the studies on your own. Interact with your teachers, interact with your friends. And इसको क्या, बोलो तो क्या है? Do you know in the month of January, I was sitting on the interview committee of our research scholars, PhD research scholars of a top institute. I asked this question. Do you know Newton's second law? Class 7, 8. Can you write it in a differential form? Oh, yes. Can it write it in integral form? MSc pass. Can you write it in integral or differential form? One Newton's law. You will get floored. No book will teach you. You have to think then and there. Integral. When this side integral, this side is differential. How? Right? Gaganyaan, 2027, these two fellows will go, Nayak and Shukla. But do you know, I have seen this. This was built last year. This girl, beautiful girl. not look-wise, the voice-wise, absolutely. It's called Vyom Mitra. Vyom means space, Mitra means strength. This is only half, from here upward. It sits on a table. Filled up with computers and 66 sensors. It can sense everything. As I'm now talking to you, a little bit hot. So this year, 2026, twice Gaganyaan will go, she will go. She'll be trained in the whole process. 27, when Gaganyaan will go with these two Gaganyatris, she will also go. You know why? Suppose Gaganyaan is supposed to go like this, just tilted a little. Suppose, for some reason. They are all trained, these cosmonauts, 10 degree that, 5 degree that. But suppose that is wrong. These two astronauts will be wearing helmets. Inside the helmets, there will be a skull cap. Skull cap, you know, Nawaz has a topi of it. India has created for the first time two-dimensional EEG machine, electroencephalograph machine. It can read all your neural impulses. The moment Shukla started thinking, oh, ये थोड़ा तो deviate कर रहा है, इसको 10, उसको 5, ना, हाँ, ठीक है. Before doing this thought will go to her brain. Instantaneously, I have seen the demonstration. She will speak out, wrong button, that is the right button. For the first time in the history of science, India will be sending a humanoid, not robot. This is India. This is your India. So next time, 15th August, 26th January, when just by practice, he put out the flag, for 5 seconds, feel the pride in you. Believe me, I'm 65 years old, but still today, I get goosebumps just looking at the flag. Because the flag is not a piece of cloth. It's a collection of emotions. And it doesn't cost you. Okay. How many of you know the costliest, I cannot finish 1/3 of what I decided to say. But okay, chalo, sometime. The costliest spacecraft ever being built has gone up in space in July 2026. It's called NISAR. You know what is the meaning of NISAR? NASA, ISRO, synthetic aperture radar. You know, let me tell you the story, motivation. And astronomy will come, if she allows me, maybe another 6 months later. 2014, NASA came to India and said, we want to build a joint collaborative spacecraft called NISAR. India said, wow, beautiful. How much? Said, according to that time, 12,000 crore rupees. India said, I have to give 6,000 crores. My total yearly budget is 2,200 crores. How can I get lost? Very, very absolutely beautiful machine from a 400 kilometer distance. If in this floor, suppose there are 2 levels of water, 1 millimeter difference, it can read from 400 kilometers. It will read Earth like anything. Stop. Pandemic. 2020 end. Again NASA comes to India. Hey, we want to send this telescope with you. Not telescope, this satellite. India said, get lost. I told you, by that time the price has gone up to 50,000 crore. Escalation. We don't have that money. We're not interested. NASA said, listen, 80% cost we will give, you give 20%. India said, get lost. If you give 80%, you are the owner. This data will never be used by our scientists. They signed an MOU, international MOU, 50% equal opportunity basis. You know why? Let me tell you the story. NASA director's lecture. According to NASA director, in the last 66 years of space exploration, out of all the spacecraft that has been sent up by NASA, successfully they have been put onto their correct orbit 72% times. And in the last 44 years of ISRO, among all the spacecraft that has been sent up, successfully they have been put onto their correct orbit 91% times. This is it. I'm not saying NASA directors. हमारे रैंडम मिल्क एंड हनी सैड चलो अमृत चलते हैं आजकल थोड़ा कम हो गया तो आप पीछे में इतना मारता है ना लेकिन that was the notion. I've been to United States, you know what? Have you gone something extra? I did some extra things on you. And I have traveled around 37 countries for lectures and collaborative work. Some are very good. But one of the biggest problems in India is the population. That is the reason it is not happening. India is also. Okay. Do you think it is space shuttle? Tested it successfully in Hyderabad last October. Pushpak, reusable launch vehicle, India has successfully tested. And by 2035, maybe India's space station. 1801, Italian astronomer Giuseppe Piazza discovered a piece of rock, typically 900 kilometers in diameter between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter, going around the Sun. He named it Ceres. People thought a new planet has been discovered. But within 3 more years, Pallas, Vesta, Juno, each around 500 kilometers in diameter, were discovered within the orbit of Mars and Jupiter, going around the Sun. And from that day till today, 1,000 pieces of rock, 10, 20, 100, 1 kilometer, they have been discovered going around the Sun between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. This is a true representation of NASA. Here, each green dot is a discovered and nomenclature named asteroid. Don't think weak planets. These red ones are called Apollo asteroids. Do you know why? Their orbit intersects the orbit of Earth. That means the Earth is going around the Sun. They can come and hit us at any point of time. Oh my God, what will happen? 1/5, 1/6 of the Earth will blow apart. The heat will be so much now. I am standing in front of you smiling. Next moment, the smile will be there. I will not be there. This is evaporation. If you ask me, sir, when can this happen? If you don't believe me, challenge me and prove me wrong. Any point of time. As I am giving this lecture here, it can happen here now. 10 years later, 10 lakh years later. Nobody knows. That we're alive is accident. Don't be so sure of that. Don't plan. Take every day as it comes. The questions. आज मैं थोड़ा रत्नाकर हूँ, कल वाल्मीकि होगा. You want to Valmiki? If I take you out of the solar system, actual color, actual photographs, you'll say nonsense, you're fooling us. We don't see this. Why we don't see this? We don't know. The problem is with the human eye. Human eye has something called perception of vision. Within 1/10 of a second, whatever amount of energy enters to our pupil falls on the retina, the optic nerve immediately takes it to the back of our head to create an image. Our eyes can integrate, add light, like a sesame chip. If our eyes were like this now, like this, looking in a particular direction for 10, 15, 20 hours, we should see every dot in the sky is a star. Huge gas clouds. Are all the stars like sun? Answer is yes or no. Have I stopped at 2 exactly? If you allow another 5 minutes more, maybe? If you are bored, I can stop. I'm not getting anything out of it. But I like this audience. Why do you know? Not just because you are all good-looking girls and boys, but your eyes extremely shiny. That is what. That is the inner beauty. That is the inner resolve. That is the inner promise. Most of you. I'm very closely watching each of your faces, including 1 or 2 who looks like me. This fellow told me to get up. That also. I read expressions very fast. Okay. So that's all. Okay. Now let me tell you. Suppose I request one of your ID cards. Photograph is there and something written for put a comment. Looking at your photograph you have given me kindly, I have to tell what is your temperature. What is your height? You are sitting. What is your weight? How long ago you were born? What is inside your body that is making you alive? How long you will be alive? Can anybody look at anybody's photograph and tell this? But don't forget, my friend, looking at a photograph of a star, you have to answer all these questions. Only the signal of light comes from a star to you. You cannot bring the star, cut it up and put chemical, test it, smell, can say, this is one of the toughest subjects in our science is astrophysics. I will just spend 2 minutes on that, just to give you an idea. Let me take my idea. 40 years back, almost 40 years. After MSc, I saw in the notice board, a new institute has come up in Pune called IUCAA, Indian University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics. Director name. I love that fellow. I have read a couple of books written by him. So I said I will apply. I never sat for journalism, JE. Because if I would have got, I started in South Point. If I thought, everybody said go for engineering, and I never liked engineering, even that thing. One thing, science, physics. And my parents are very supportive. Both of them are very academic people. They were, and not anymore. They said, whatever you do, it's something. So we applied for PhD. Do you know the criteria application? 41 years back. 80% in MSc, 80% in GSc, 85% in high secondary, and 90% in mathematics. Very tough at that time. We all applied. Then later I came to know the full story. 1,800 people applied, kids applied, students applied. Basis of marks and recommendation, 90 were chosen and invited to Pune for an admission test. Everything paid. Train fare, 2 nights of very good hotel stay. Hotel executive Ashok. Fully booked. Day of admission test, 8:30 in the morning, there is a written test. There was. 8:30 to 10:30. Results come out at 12:30. Right? Out of 88 actually joined, not 90, 27 were chosen. Go for lunch. 2:30 to 5:30, first interview. Out of 27, 9 were chosen. Then 6:30 to 10:30 in the same night, final interview. Out of 9, 2 were chosen. Even today, that is in India. Unfortunately, I was one of them. Unfortunately, whatever. World opens up. World opens up. My hostel room was a single-seater, attached bath, air-conditioned room with an internet connection at the hostel room 41 years back. Your parents never knew what is internet, how to spell it. In 4.5 years of my PhD, I could travel to 19 countries to deliver lecture without paying a single rupee from my pocket or government of India's pocket. Opportunities open up. But you have to prove yourself. But everything is so professional. Gave the exam. I had a ticket for Gitanjali Express next day morning, 6:05 from Mumbai. Returns next day afternoon. I came, I found the telegram already there, you have been selected, John. No Indian people can think of. And it's happening in India now, of course. And do you know the other student? He must be physics, very good. He was an IIT mechanical engineer, IIT Kanpur, topper. And he did his PhD in quantum cosmology and present the director of the Raman Research Institute in Bangalore. Subjects don't matter. How excellent you are proves that. Mechanical engineer, quantum cosmology. He is actually the Prime Minister's Council. Unfortunately, again, a Bengali fellow called Tarun Saurabhi Ghosh, but not from Bengal, from there. So, now you see your potential. Your potential is not written in the eyes of your BF or GFs. Everybody starts smiling. BFs and GFs are nobody in your life unless you prove to be worthy of that. You don't have to spend your father 3,000 rupees per day pocket money to impress your BF or GF. Earn it, prove it. Otherwise, give that GF or GF to your father. We never think in this way. Whatever. And it was this fellow, just 5 minutes more as I told you, that if you put a prism in front of the light, it will be broken in all wavelengths, and that can give us every details of star. Do you know what is the name of that person? Prism, spectrum, star. He is known in the whole world as father of stellar astrophysics. Must be a very big person, sir. I must be America, Harvard, Princeton, sir. MEDHA. Everywhere in the world you go, the moment you are from Calcutta, MEDHA. Big scientist, Nobel Prize winners tell me. We, not your fault, our society. Metro, Have you found any metro station named after a scientist? You go to Paris, it's my second home. I've been to Paris 18 times. Metros, roads named after big mathematicians and scientists. At the most, after some time, it will be named after Mukesh Ambani, but not a scientist. So stars can come in different initial masses. What man? You'll never call me though. Good. No hassles on that. I'm breaking down a lot of MEDHA narratives. Stars can have very different initial masses, surface temperature, and chemical composition, mass 0.08 to 150 times the mass of Sun, temperature, surface 50,000 to 800 degrees centigrade. A legendary woman 110 years back at Harvard Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory created a classification. Hottest surface temperature hosta, next dot B, next A, next F, G, K, and N. 100 years science has totally changed. Nobody can touch her classification. In 7 years of research, she took only 6 days of holiday. That is conservation. Stars are born out of gas clouds and die also making gas clouds. Actual pictures from interstellar gas clouds. 1,000 solar systems will be born out of this one single cloud. Wonderful. For example, take this. 25 lakh pixels. Each pixel gives you information. One photograph can produce 10 to 12 PhDs. And one of you, maybe 1.5 of you, after 10 years studying this, will come back, give a lecture here at 20th anniversary and say, my friend, this greenish blue now, oxygen 5, oxygen 6. This blue is neutral hydrogen. This yellow is sulfur. This black is iron. This green is either zinc or molybdenum. And this white is titanium. Picture tells a story. Tremendously tough. I did my PhD in 4.5 years, on an average, 12 hours a day. Nobody pushed me. Otherwise, we will not succeed. 12 hours a day. The day I submitted my thesis to the Pune University, I straight away went to Deccan Gymkhana, which is the Esplanade of Pune, bought a Pune darshan ticket. I've never been around it. The mind has to be single focus. And today, I am boasting and saying, 37 countries. For what? For that astronomy, not for my rupee in my pocket. Alright, this is just to share with you. Recently, we are discussing that I will probably be asked to become an advisor to the European Space Agency. Just for the fun. This is the most happy time of my life. But build up. ये भी करना है, वो भी करना है, उधर भी जाना है, थोड़ा जॉब भी बनना है, खाना भी है, मूवी भी जाना है, सब देख सकते हो। Right? If you are born, if you die, stars also die. I'm not going into the details, don't have much time. Our sun. Because it is alive because it is burning hydrogen to helium. How long? If you do a small calculation, you can show for another 500 crore years, 500 crore years, sun will be burning hydrogen to helium at the core. When all hydrogen becomes helium in the core, thermonuclear fusion stops, energy production stops, outward pressure stops, gravity cannot be stopped. So sun becomes small. As it is becoming smaller in the outer layer, there is still hydrogen remaining. Because of contraction, temperature slowly rises to 1.5 crore, which is earlier at the core. At that temperature, remaining hydrogen, the nuclei will fuse and produce helium. The reaction that was happening at the center will happen near the surface. Energy will produce, gas when it is heated expands. So, 500 crore years later, if you open the window and see, those who can, by the way, those who have to go to the coaching classes, please go. Right? The coaching side is waiting for you. So after 500 crore years later, if you just take the window out, you will see sun becoming smaller, smaller, smaller. Sun will stop and it will start becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. How big it will be? In a small calculation you can show. After 500 crore years later, sun will become bigger and bigger and bigger and ultimately touch the orbit of Earth. So Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars will not be there. It will all go inside the sun, much, much bigger. That's why insurance company don't have a 500 crore US. They all know what is going to happen. Right, whatever. That time it will be called a red giant. When the outside is becoming bigger, the inner core of helium, because gravity is contracting, no heat is getting produced. The temperature rises from 1.5 to 10 crore degrees centigrade. At 10 crore degrees centigrade, helium fuses to produce carbon. Again, energy is produced, it stops. But soon, when all the helium gets into carbon, that is not enough, that mass, to produce more pressure, raise the temperature. As a result, the inside, like a ball of carbon, very hot, like a dot in the sky, called white dwarf. By that time, the outside is becoming bigger and bigger, and creates a cloud-like structure called planetary nebula. Nebula means cloud. Actual photograph. For the last 30-35 years, my minuscule research is on this planetary nebula and the dynamics. Right? You see, actual photograph. 1993-94, I was a faculty at University of Manchester with two of my, not colleagues, collaborators, Isabel Chechnev and Karan Vilasi. We created how this dynamics is happening. And believe me, my friend, I had to write a 24,000 line program. Now you will take around 7 to 20 software engineers to produce that. And on the supercomputer at University of Manchester, put that thing, crunch, you showed you can produce molecules by the shock waves. 72 molecules we could produce inside the computer. Nobody believed in the world. Luck is a big factor. 96, Holland sent a spacecraft from ISO. Within first 6 months, out of 72 molecules we predicted, 68 were discovered. A new branch started, astrochemistry. But believe me, we became at least temporarily celebrities. Traveling to 20-25 countries to do lectures on orbital laws. Right. These are the molecules that we predicted and discovered. All of them are organic molecules. That means if somebody says there is life on Earth and nowhere else, that's the most stupidest statement. Life is a universal process. Any star at its death produces the pre-biotic material for life. And when we talk about the next type of death, 8 to 25 times the mass of sun, today there is not enough time really. And you will find hydrogen to helium, helium to carbon, carbon to oxygen, neon, silicon, sulfur, iron. Iron can be pushed to produce something else. Inside takes the peels of an onion, inside. Shell of hydrogen, helium, carbon, blah, 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 iron. Gravity takes over, falls towards the iron core, cannot press it, explodes. Temperature rises to trillions of degrees centigrade. And in one fraction of a second, all the naturally occurring elements starting from iron to 94 in the periodic table gets produced. And the star explodes. And that is called a supernova explosion. Now I will get lost now with one last thing. Your blood is red, right? So is mine. Why? Hemoglobin. What in hemoglobin causes the red color? Iron cannot kill out K conflicts. Close your mind's eye. For a fraction of a second, ask yourself, a single atom of iron in my blood going to the heart, head, 72 times passing through my heart. Where from that atom has entered my body? How? Through my food. If I am a vegetarian, I have eaten the plant. If I am a non-veg, I have eaten the goat which has eaten the plant. How in the plant it has come out from the soil? How in the soil it has come out? Because according to the scientists, 1,377 crore years ago, our universe started from almost a very singular point, and only two elements were produced, hydrogen and helium. So believe me, my friend, today after going back, look at your mirror, bedside mirror, for 1 second and tell yourself, each atom of iron in my blood, each atom of calcium, sodium, potassium, zinc, whatever my body is made up of now, atom by atom was literally created only inside the star in this universe. So you, me, the monkey, the dog, the cat, we are all equal. We are star children. Our body is made up of stardust. That is the biggest philosophical understanding. Right? So, I will not go into the details of that, but you can just say, starting from gas, a star is born, it ends up into gas. This has given rise to the neutrons. How did life occur on Earth? Scientists are now saying life is not about enough. There was no material, raw materials. So the present theory says life came from space. Yes, this has given rise to another subject of astronomy. So my friend, forget about all these things. I'm not going to talk about. Right? Maybe some other day. All these things are used in astronomy. Every moment, the frontier of knowledge and consciousness is expanding. And I have to say, ultimately, this is a Rabindranath. Right? And you may ask me, what drives you? Almost 1 hour 45 minutes, right? At my age of 65. That is called motivation. I have not generated that. 2 people in my life have motivated me. One is my PhD thesis supervisor, Professor Jan Krishna Nalekar. Another one, amazing. You will not believe, you will say, Abhi to bahut ho gaya. Gapna hai. APJ Abdul Kalam. He passed away in 2015. At least 12 years prior to that, we were very close. And he used to always put, Duari ji, you should go out into the society. Do research, you are doing good research. But go out in the society, talk to these young people. They are our future. This fellow, I'm sorry, not busy, was really close to me. Very close to me. And he even has played Rudravina for very long. 1-to-1. I'm so lucky. But I'm gifted in that sense. I've got his message. So today, every lecture I give thanks to you. Okay, thank you.